So, let's just dive in. What is so different about this? What makes quantum numerology so unique from, what we traditionally might think of when we hear numerology?
I think a really great way to put it is traditional numerology is kind of like looking at just the individual pieces of a puzzle. But this quantum numerology, it kind of takes all those pieces and puts them together to really look at the bigger picture. It's a much more complex and interconnected pattern.
Oh,
So we're looking at things like quantum entanglement or, the Fibonacci sequence to really understand the deeper meaning of number.
the Fibonacci sequence.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like the spiral of a seashell.
Exactly.
I mean, how does that like factor into all of this?
Well, I mean, that's a perfect example of how, even nature uses math
Right.
to create, this harmony,
Right.
this order. And this numerology system really suggests that our lives also follow these patterns.
Okay.
So, for example, the Fibonacci sequence, we can actually map this to your personal years.
Well,
And it reveals, these periods of growth and change and transformation that you're going to go through.
so it's not just like, oh, you're a 7, so you're introspective. It's like how does that play out
Yeah.
over the course of your life?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like having a cosmic roadmap. It's showing you the ebb and flow of your personal journey.
Okay. All right. So now we're getting somewhere. So where do we even begin? Like what are the basic building blocks of this quantum numerology system?
Well, we still start with those primary numbers, 1 through 9.
Okay.
But this time, it's about really understanding their deeper vibrational frequencies.
Okay.
For example, 1 isn't just about being a leader. It really represents that pioneering energy, the spark of creation.
Oh, so it's like taking those kind of basic numerology interpretations and like adding this whole other level to it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we get into this really fascinating concept called quantum pairs.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how, certain numbers seem to like show up together in your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, quantum numerology suggests that these pairings, they're not random.
Oh.
They actually reveal, these complementary forces that are at play.
Quantum pairs. Okay. Now you've got my attention. So tell me about these pairings. What are we talking about here?
So these pairs, they're actually based on harmonic resonance, not just adding them up to 9, like traditional numerology. It's a much deeper connection. So for example, 1 representing leadership
Right.
is actually paired with 6. And 6 is all about compassion and nurturing.
So someone who is, who has that core number 1, they may be a natural leader, but maybe they need to develop a little bit more empathy and compassion
Yeah.
to really,
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about some of the other pairs?
So we have 2. 2 is balance, and it's paired with 7, which is introspection.
Okay.
3 is creativity, and it's linked with 8, which is power.
Okay.
And then finally, we have 4, stability, paired with 9, completion.
Gotcha.
And so each pair, it really reveals this dynamic interplay of energies, and it's showing us where we might need to find that balance or embrace a seemingly opposite force in our lives.
Wow. So it's like every number has a partner, like a yin and yang type of thing.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got the primary numbers. We've got these quantum pairs. What else is there?
So we've got, those primary numbers and those quantum pairs, but there's another layer to this. It's really cool. We're talking about prime numbers.
Oh, okay.
Think of prime numbers like the special forces of numerology, right?
Yeah.
They have these unique vibrations, and they can actually amplify specific qualities in you.
Prime numbers. Okay. So like the ones that can only be divided by 1
Yeah,
and themselves.
exactly.
2, 3, 5, 7, and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember learning about those in math class, but I never thought they'd be relevant to numerology.
Yeah. And that's what makes this system so cool, is it really takes all of these seemingly, unrelated concepts and kind of weaves them together
Yeah.
to create this deeper understanding. So, for example, the number 2, it represents that duality, that partnership, in traditional numerology.
Right.
But it's also a prime number.
Right.
So in quantum numerology, this actually reinforces its significance even more,
Oh.
suggesting that, partnerships are going to play a crucial role in your life journey.
Oh, okay. So it's like like prime numbers just add this extra emphasis, like highlighting certain themes or challenges maybe that
Yeah.
that we might encounter.
Exactly.
Okay, well, what about some other other prime numbers? Like what kind of things do they amplify?
Well, let's look at 7, for example.
Okay.
Seven's often associated with introspection and spirituality, right?
Yeah.
But as a prime number, it becomes even more potent.
Okay.
So if you have a strong 7 resonance in your, numerological profile, it really suggests that you have a deep connection to your inner world and that thirst for knowledge and understanding.
It's funny you should say that. I've always been kind of drawn to the number 7.
Yeah.
Like it just seems to pop up
Yeah.
everywhere. And I've always been, a bit of a deep thinker.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of amazing to see how this stuff like actually, kind of lines up with my own experiences.
Well, and that's the beauty of the system, it really validates our intuition
Yeah.
and helps us kind of connect those dots in ways that maybe we hadn't considered before.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, so we've got the primary numbers, we've got the quantum pairs, we've got the prime numbers, we've got the Fibonacci sequence playing out in our personal years. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little curious about the quantum aspect of all of this.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned quantum entanglement earlier. How does that play into numerology?
So quantum entanglement, that's a mind-boggling concept.
It really is.
Right. Where 2 particles are linked, even when they're, separated by vast distances.
Yeah.
So what happens to one instantly affects the other.
Okay.
And quantum numerology suggests that numbers are similarly interconnected. They're influencing each other. They're creating this web of energetic relationships.
So it's like numbers are having these invisible like conversations.
Yeah.
Like impacting each other's energy, even though we might not see it.
Exactly.
Okay, and here's where it gets even more interesting. You're saying that we're entangled with the numbers in our lives too.
Well, that's what the system is suggesting. Yeah.
I mean, what does that even mean? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, it means that, the numbers that are associated with our birthday, our name, even the significant dates in our lives, they're not just random.
Right.
They're energetically linked to us, they're reflecting our unique vibrational frequency.
So it's like we're constantly exchanging energy with these numbers, influencing each other in these, subtle but really profound ways.
Exactly. And just like quantum entanglement suggests that we're all interconnected. This numerology system really emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things. It's a reminder that, we're all part of this larger web of energy. It's a cosmic dance where everything is in constant motion and interaction.
This is all so fascinating, but I got to admit, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of this.
Yeah.
I think what would help is like a practical example.
Yeah.
Like how would this apply to like a real person's birth date? I think that might make things a little bit more concrete.
Absolutely. So let's take a birthday. Let's say August 15th, 1985.
Okay.
Okay, so first we want to calculate that core number. So we're going to add up all the digits.
Okay.
So 8 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5. That's going to give us 37. And then we're going to add 3 plus 7.
Right, which is 10.
Which is 10, right?
Yeah.
And then 1 plus 0
Equals 1.
equals 1.
So the core number for this birth date is 1.
Right.
The pioneering energy, the spark of creation.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Okay, so now we want to identify that quantum pair.
Okay.
So remember, 1 is paired with 6.
Right.
Which is compassion and nurturing. So this is telling us that, this individual, their pioneering spirit, it's going to be most effective when it's balanced with, empathy and a heart-centered approach.
So it's not just about, charging ahead with bold ideas. It's about considering the impact on others and leading with kindness.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the Fibonacci sequence? Like how does that factor in here?
So if this person was born in 1985, they would be currently 38 years old. Okay, so if we look at the Fibonacci sequence, 38 falls between 34 and 55.
Okay.
And this is suggesting that they're in a phase of expansion and adaptability. This is a time for, really embracing new experiences, stepping outside that comfort zone.
That's interesting. Mid-30s, I mean, that's often a time when people go through some big changes and transition.
Exactly.
It's like this person is right on schedule with their cosmic growth spurt.
Exactly. And it's not just about external changes, but this is also a time for internal growth, for
Yeah.
questioning those old beliefs and expanding their sense of self.
Okay, so we've got the core number, we've got the quantum pair, we've got the Fibonacci influence. Um, what about prime numbers? Do any of those stand out in this birth date?
Well, we already know that the core number 1 is a prime number,
Right.
and that's really emphasizing that, that individualistic pioneering energy of this person.
Hmm.
And if we look at the other numbers in the birth date, we see the prime number 5 as
Right.
well.
The number of change, freedom, and adventure. It sounds like this person might be somebody who kind of embraces new experiences,
Mhm.
isn't afraid to shake things up a little bit.
That's a great observation. Yeah, so the presence of these prime numbers, it's really reinforcing those themes of
Mhm.
individuality, adaptability, and really a desire for exploration.
Hmm.
This person might, be drawn to unconventional paths and might thrive in environments that allow for freedom and self-expression.
This is starting to make like so much sense. It's like we're piecing together this puzzle,
Yeah.
revealing this person's like unique energy signature
Mhm.
and potential life path.
Yeah.
But I gotta admit, I'm still kind of curious about the deeper like metaphysical aspects of this system.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned that numbers have these intrinsic energies. Like,
Mhm.
where do those energies come from?
Well, that's a question that's intrigued, philosophers and mystics for centuries.
Yeah.
But quantum numerology really draws inspiration from various ancient traditions, including the I Ching.
Oh, the I Ching.
Yes.
Okay, so I've heard of that, but I don't know a lot about it.
Right.
How does it connect to numerology?
Well, the I Ching uses 64 hexagrams,
Okay.
and each of those represents, a different archetypal energy or situation. And it's used to provide insights into the patterns of change and transformation. So in quantum numerology, each of these hexagrams is actually assigned a numerical value.
So we can actually connect specific numbers to
Yeah.
to these ancient symbols.
Yes.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
How does that work in practice?
Well, we can map digits from a birth date to specific hexagrams, and it just adds another layer of symbolic meaning to the interpretation.
Yeah.
For example, if someone's birth date maps to a hexagram that represents creativity, it just reinforces that creative potential that we might already be seeing, in their primary number or their quantum pair.
It's like we're layering all these different systems of knowledge on top of each other to create like this richer, more nuanced understanding of a person's energy signature.
Exactly.
Right.
And that I Ching connection, it really adds that layer of depth and complexity that can be truly insightful. It's like having a conversation with the ancient wisdom of the I Ching using numerology as the language.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
Is there more to explore?
Oh, there's always more to discover.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't even touched on how Tesla's 369 theory or even Schrodinger's equation can be applied to numerology.
Oh, wow.
But those are conversations for another time.
Yeah.
I think we've laid a solid foundation for understanding the core principles of this fascinating system.
I agree, and I think our listeners are probably just as eager as I am to delve a little deeper into those more advanced concepts. But for now, let's take a short break, and we'll come back to explore, I guess, the truly mind-bending implications of Tesla's theories and quantum mechanics in the realm of numerology. Okay, so we've talked about a lot when it comes to quantum numerology. We've talked about quantum pairs, prime numbers. We even touched on how the Fibonacci sequence and the I Ching tie into all this. But you mentioned something earlier that I really want to circle back to, and that was Tesla's 369 theory. Now, I know Tesla was a brilliant inventor, but how do his ideas connect to numerology?
Well, Tesla was really fascinated by numbers and believed that 3, 6, and 9 held a special significance in understanding the universe. And some interpretations of quantum numerology suggest that these numbers might be linked to specific sound frequencies what are known as solfeggio frequencies.
Solfeggio frequencies. Yeah, I've heard of those. They're used in like sound healing and meditation, things like that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so each solfeggio frequency is associated with specific healing properties.
Okay.
So, for example, 396 hertz is believed to help release fear and anxiety, while 528 hertz is said to promote transformation and DNA repair.
Okay, that's interesting. So how do these frequencies relate to the numbers 3, 6, and 9?
Well, some people believe that there's a correspondence between these numbers and specific solfeggio frequencies.
Okay.
For example, the number 3 might be linked to 396 hertz,
Okay.
6 to 639 hertz,
Gotcha.
and 9 to 963 hertz.
Okay.
So if you see these numbers, appearing repeatedly in your life, it could suggest that you're aligning with those specific frequencies, whether consciously or not.
So let's say my core number is 3. Does that mean I'm constantly vibrating at 396 hertz? Like I'm walking around with my own personal tuning fork?
Not necessarily constantly, but it could indicate that this frequency really resonates strongly with your energy field.
Okay.
And it might explain why you're drawn to certain experiences or activities that align with that frequency's properties.
This makes me think about how like certain numbers have always like felt good or bad to me, even before I knew anything about numerology.
Mm.
Like I've always loved the number 8.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels lucky to me,
Well, that's your intuition speaking.
Yeah.
And quantum numerology suggests that our intuition is often picking up on these subtle energy vibrations. So if a number feels good to you, there's probably a reason for it.
Okay. This is also fascinating. So
Yeah.
so we've got Tesla's 3, 6, 9. We've got solfeggio frequencies, and then you threw out Schrodinger's equation earlier.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty heavy hitter from the world of quantum mechanics.
Right.
I mean, how does that fit into all of this?
So Schrodinger's equation is a complex mathematical formula, but the basic idea is that in the quantum world, particles exist in a state of superposition,
Okay.
meaning they can be in multiple states at the same time until they are observed.
Okay.
It's like that famous thought experiment with Schrodinger's cat.
Right, where the cat is both alive and dead.
Exactly.
until you open the box.
You open the box, right, and then it collapses that wave function into one or the other.
Okay. But how does that relate to numbers in our lives?
Think of it this way: your life path is like a wave function.
Okay.
It exists in this state of potentiality with multiple possible outcomes until you, the observer, make choices that collapse those possibilities into a specific reality.
So it's not about predicting a fixed destiny. It's about understanding that we have the power to shape our own reality through the choices that we make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quantum numerology really suggests that our intentions, our beliefs, even our thoughts can influence the energy field around us and nudge us towards certain outcomes. It's like we're co-creating our reality in partnership with the universe.
That's incredibly empowering. It means we're not just, passive passengers on this journey. We have agency.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And understanding that vibrational nature of numbers can give us, a deeper understanding of the energies that we're working with and how to make choices that align with our highest potential.
Wow. We've covered so much today. We started with the basics of quantum numerology. We explored these deeper connections to quantum mechanics and ancient wisdom. And we even touched on how this system can empower us to make more conscious choices in our lives. It's been an incredible journey.
It really has, and I hope this deep dive has inspired our listeners to explore the world of numbers with a fresh perspective.
I know I'm feeling inspired. A huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this mind-expanding adventure. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of quantum numerology. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep vibrating at your highest frequency.